Mona Jenkinson Frost played a leading role in Aspen history during the city's quiet years. A musician and teacher, she had a strong personal commitment to the cultural advancement of the community. Mona's father, Frank, immigrated to Aspen with his brother when prospects were still good for silver miners. He returned to the Isle of Man to wed Eva Shimon, and the couple settled in Aspen in the wake of the silver crash. Mona Jenkinson was born in Aspen in 1905 on Christmas Day. Her father had a wonderful tenor voice, and Eva played piano and organ. Together they filled the house with music, as Mona's daughter, Pauline Marshall, explains to Pat Fallon in the parlor of Mona's Aspen home.
So music, even then, was very, very important, and I think it was important enough for both of them that they bought an old pump organ to have in the house so my grandmother could play, but also so the children could learn how to play. And then this piano was bought by my grandfather after my mother had started taking piano lessons or organ lessons at that point.
Mona grew up with 3 siblings, the younger twins, Earl and Lucille, and Pauline, her older sister. Her family lived the simple and frugal life that the times demanded. Once a year on Christmas Day, the Jenkinsons went to the movies. Mona was a spirited girl who thrived in the mountain air of Aspen. She charged 25 cents for babysitting and earned extra money dusting the judge's home. Mona attended the Aspen school system, where she learned the discipline for study and a deep-seated respect for education that became hallmarks of her adult life. Mona is pictured in the center. The backdrop to Mona's life has always been the mountains around Aspen. A serious and hard-working student, Mona studied diligently and earned high grades. Years later, as a teacher, Mona would expect the same level of hard work from her students. In addition to schoolwork, Mona also studied the piano, practicing the music of the great composers and performing in the family parlor. For her teaching degree, she studied for 2 years, then taught a year in Aspen before returning to Gunnison and completing school. She then joined the ranks of young women who found that one of the only professions available to them was in teaching. For Mona, the choice was a good one, and she launched her teaching career with enthusiasm. Mona wanted to make a difference, and teaching was the avenue she followed. Mona's interest also turned to romance, and it was during this time that she met Paul Frost, as her daughter, Pauline, describes.
He met her. She was home from college and was here with her boyfriend, to whom she was engaged. And my dad saw this woman and said, "Who is she?" and asked her to dance. And one dance led to another, and as far as I know, she broke off her engagement and started seeing my father. And when she started teaching in a little town close to Sterling, I believe, my father would come and visit her. They were married in 1935, and she moved back to Aspen, stopped teaching.
Paul Frost worked for the State Highway Department. After he and Mona were married, they moved into Paul's parents' house on Hallam Street and had a daughter, Pauline. Mona took a hiatus from teaching so she could raise her daughter. But soon her calling returned her to the classroom, where she taught 4th and 6th grades at the Aspen Elementary School. She also served as music teacher for all grades, and at one time or another, she taught most of Aspen's children the fundamentals of music. Strict and demanding with her students, Mona commanded her pupils' respect. She also inspired creativity and fun through a student newspaper that focused a humorous light on the idiosyncrasies of her students. Karen Chisholm was one of Mona's students who remembers her teacher with mixed blessings.
But no matter what, there was just an element of seriousness in Mrs. Frost. She was a perfectionist. She was very particular. She always wanted you to do your best. I think sometimes as a child you didn't quite respect that or quite understand it sometimes, but really she was really dedicated to what she did. She had a lot of energy in her teaching.
The memories that are most fond are the memories of sitting down and playing duets at the piano together from the time I was probably 2 or 3 until just maybe even a year ago. I could still get her to sit down and play duets with me.
Edie Chisholm also remembers Mona for her musical contributions.
If you can play classical music, perhaps then you can play anything. But she could run her hands over the keyboard, play some fun tunes as well. But she was good.
But she really appreciated that I wanted to come back and take piano lessons from her again. And I could appreciate really her knowledge and her ability in terms of music, I think, then. And how pleased she would be when you really did do well. You know, how much it pleased her when she actually taught you something, you know, and she could see the results of that.
And long after she retired, she kept a very active interest in the school, but she wanted the school to modernize. She wanted the new computers. She wanted children to have every advantage possible for a good education. That was her goal.
2 of Mona's greatest gifts to Aspen were the 44 years she served on the library board and her tenure on the city's Historical Preservation Committee, which was honored by former Mayor Bill Sterling in a 1984 proclamation. Mona made a distinct impression on the mayor.
That when she had approved a very modern addition to Luke Short's old mansard roof Victorian, that I was very upset about that. And I remember her laughing and she said, "I like new things, Bill. I like them because they're fresh and so exciting."
Mona will be remembered for her efforts to modernize the schools, working for senior citizens, supporting the library, and bringing the gift of music to the Aspen community through her devotion to church and school.